Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now I've been lucky enough to review a couple of modified minis on the channel. A good friend of mine, Petrol Ped, his JCW Roadster, which is modified to about 275 brake. And now the one that is really interesting, especially for this review, is another friend of mine, Will. He's got the pre-facelift JCW Clubman, and that's modified to around 300 brake. Now, the JCWs have never really felt underpowered in standard form. They're 235 brake roughly, but that Clubman with 300 brake felt really at home. But what's happened is we've got the facelift model, and I've come down to Chandlers because they have one just over there. Now, Joe's getting the keys for me. So I've got this for the next day. We're going to head over to a rather large mini gathering at the B Road Hunting Club, and I'm going to put this thing through its paces and see what it's like. This is going to be really interesting because I've also driven the BMW M135i, and you're probably well aware that car has many things in common with the LCI Clubman. Same sort of powertrain, some sort of power. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's in this rather lovely blue with the red stripes. So we're going to get going. We're going to get heading over to Tunbridge and the B Road Hunting Club and see what this new car is all about. We're underway now to Tunbridge and the B Road Hunting Club, where we're going to be meeting up with, let's say, one or two other minis. So this is going to be a really good day, considering I'm an absolute mini fanatic. This is where the mini is really at home. These sort of back roads, tight and twisty. I think you'd have to be really progressing on stupidly in order to lose traction in this car. It's got so much grip. It does a fantastic job at getting the power down. We've got a Torsen LSD at the front, which helps you keep traction and fire you out of the corners like an absolute rocket ship. Gives you a load of confidence in what this car can actually do. Let's put it in sport, so we just push the little toggle up. And we don't want to go in mid, we'll have to push it up again. There we go, we're sport. The exhaust has changed tone slightly. And blimey. That's fast. That's really fast. For a car in this class, this Mini is outrageous compared to where we were before. The previous one, this is 1.4 seconds quicker. 1.4, that Mini, you've done a blooming good job at that. Normally when you get a facelift model, they might change a few styling subtly on the outside, but they'll also just give you maybe a 5 or 10% power increase, but this has got significantly more. Brand new engine. It might not be a brand new car. We've got the same suspension, although it has been slightly tweaked over the previous one. We've got larger brakes now. We've got 4-piston calipers, front and rear. I think before it's 4 at the front, 1 at the back. We've got 330mm brakes and 300s accordingly. So it's got more stopping power, but there again, you're going to be pushing on a bit quicker than you probably were in the previous one. Now that's the difference with the modified one I've driven. It hasn't got uprated brakes, so this thing does stop better. I think increasing the power was a very sensible thing for Mini to do. Its main competitors, really, we've got the Audi S3 and also the Golf R, and before it was left wanting a little bit. It was significantly down on power compared to its competitors, and you know, in terms of that, then you're down on 0 to 60 times. Just everything about it wasn't quite competing where it should be. But now it's got 300 brake, it is most definitely competing. Let's go back into normal because we're on some sensible roads now. It's well up there in terms of performance and handling and just everything that goes with that. So it's a very good proposition if you're considering a Golf R or an Audi S3. Definitely worth trying this car out. So in terms of dials and layouts, it's basically identical to the pre-facelift model. There's nothing I can really see that's much different, nothing significant. I'm sure there are a few tweaks here and there, but most Minis now have this same familiar layout. It's not until you get to the new electric Mini, which I've reviewed, so I'll put a card up there for that one, and also the GP3. I would put a card up there, but I haven't reviewed one yet. They're slightly rare, but these analog dials have been replaced with a lovely digital, sort of like a tablet shape that sits behind here. It just brings the Mini into, well, it's just a bit more modern, just a bit of a refresh. But most of it is familiar. If you've driven one Mini, then you will know where everything is. We've got a JCW Alcantara steering wheel with the red 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock? Not 5 o'clock. That would be really weird, wouldn't it? Sort of being over here. 12 o'clock on it, which is really nice. Just touch points I think are so important in a car, because especially the steering wheel. We've got 8-speed box, so that means I can either leave it in automatic, which I'm in at the moment, or we've got paddles behind the steering wheel if we push across on the gearbox, and we can go over to sport. We'll have a play around with that a bit later on. But everything else is very familiar. Now this model, we've got a larger 8-inch touchscreen. Now this is all based on an older version of BMW iDrive, just with some Mini love thrown at it, so it's a bit more funky. So the one area which the modified JCW does beat this hands down is the sound. Now that car had a Remus catback on it and it sounded awesome. When we went on a Mini Met a few weeks ago, we went to, well, the perfect place to take an exhaust. That is a big tunnel. I'll just pop some footage up there now for your audio pleasure. See what I mean? Loud, very loud, but good fun. This, on the other hand, has a standard JCW exhaust. It sounds good. I couldn't say the word there for a minute, and it popples and cracks and the overrun occasionally, but nothing too intrusive. The trouble is now you've got OPF filters, particulates, which dumb down the noise. It's still a pleasant burble and is good fun to drive, but yeah, that's the only difference between the two cars, that I wish this car sounded a bit more aggressive. We're going to try and find somewhere to pull over and have a look around the outside of this car, and also have a look in the back and a quick chat about the practicality of this car. Let's get out and we'll have a look around the outside of this Clubman. Now the colour this is finished in is called Midnight Blue, and we've got a couple of red stripes that run down the bonnet. Now interestingly, these red stripes are an optional extra, £200 optional extra, so they're not cheap, although on PCP it's not exactly going to work out much more, but it does finish off the car. And then we've got this lovely red stripe that runs across the front. We've got the JCW badge. Now down here, interestingly, we've got lots of vents to let some lovely air in. So we've got a radiator there, we've got one just behind here, part of the one there, and another one around there. Plenty of ways of getting air in. Now interestingly, this here, this is just a fake vent. That's a styling cue which comes back from the original Gen 1 Mini Cooper, so then when that was supercharged it actually did something. We've got LED lights and fog lights and a small splitter that runs across the bottom. This particular model comes with 19-inch wheels. We've got the John Cooper Works calipers hiding behind there, looking very nice with massive brakes on there. This thing is quick in a straight line and also stops very well, which is a good thing. Some more JCW badging up here, and then the great all four down here. We've got some vents that actually are real vents on the side there, which is good. Red mirror caps to match the roof and the stripes there. We've got keyless entry, so as long as you've got the key with you, you can press the button and open up. So I think this is a very, very smart looking car. We'll head on round the back because this is where the major differences are going to be. So this is a 6-door car, and you'll see why. So we can actually open it. We've got the key, so we can hold down the button and it opens up the barn doors into this rear boot. Now I think it's 350 litres of storage, so it's a little bit more than the Golf R, which is a good thing, and not quite as much as the S3, but it's a very usable area. We've got this cover which comes off, so you can stow things under there, and then a bit of privacy to hide it. We've got 60-40 split seats and sort of tethering points. We've got a light, we've got a power socket there, we've got some small cargo nets to put things, and some underfloor storage. I would show you, but I can't be bothered to take all of this lot out, so we'll hook that back over, or try and hook that back over. It's easier with two hands. So there we go. Let's shut up the back. The only thing I will say that you have to be a bit mindful of is when you're parking sort of back into a space, or there may be a car park behind you, these doors, they obviously do spring open. So if you were quite close and opened it and the wall was here, you'd hit it. So one thing you need to be careful of. So the back, in terms of styling, we've got these brand new Union flag lights. I love those, look absolutely brilliant. John Cooper Works badging, and then we've got two real exhausts. None of this fake rubbish going on, although there are some fake vent things going on here. I'm not sure what they're for, but you can't do anything about that. We've got the reversing camera under here. Now, one thing a friend of mine told me about, and I wish he hadn't now, was the word Clubman. Nothing wrong with that, but it's the fact there are 3 letters on this side and 4 on that side. Now you know that. You can take the badges off as he's done with his, and it looks pretty smart. That's the only minor gripe. I'm finding real problems with anything wrong with this car whatsoever. So let's hop in the back. Let's open the back doors and we'll see in terms of the rear space. So in here we've got a couple of Isofix here and here. We've got a proper central belt as well. Let's climb in. So I'm 6 foot or a smidgen under, and I've left the seats exactly where I was driving. So headroom a few inches above. Now this is a bit of a pain. When you're here, you have to sort of bend your knees into this concave section. I can't get my knees, not easily anyway. So 6 foot, you're okay. If you were much taller, you may struggle to actually fit in comfortably, or you'd have to get the driver or passenger to put their seat forward. We've got a couple of USB type C ports down here, and a little air vent to keep you cool. So if you've got an iPhone, then you'll have to bring an adapter. That's the only problem in the back of it. That's about it. We've got some door bins. It's about it really. Nothing that exciting. relatively comfortable as long as you're not 6 foot. So there we go guys, that's the outside of the new JCW Clubman. What do you think of the styling? Do you like the look of it? I certainly do. I think it looks fantastic, especially in this colour. But that's enough of the outside. I'm going to get back in the car and I think we'll continue driving, because at the end of the day this car is all about the driving experience. So let's get this car started and we'll be on our way. So what's my final thoughts on this 2020 JCW Clubman? I said at the beginning I wanted to compare this really against the 2018 modified Clubman to see whether this is a better proposition. Power wise, that's the most important thing. So this is 306 brake, the modified one I had was around the 300. 450 newton meters of torque, the other one was about 400. So this definitely feels quicker. The pickup seems not significantly quicker, but enough to make a difference. In terms of stopping power as well, this has got 4-pot calipers all round, so it does stop better. The previous one had 1 at the back, 4 at the front. Interior wise, very little has changed. Very little has changed. I'm sure there are some subtle changes, but not a lot. This model has got a head-up display, but I like the interior anyway, so don't really need to change it that much. Looks wise, same as the previous one, but in general I do like the look of the car. It's not to everyone's taste, a bit of a Marmite thing really, especially with the barn doors. It is a big car, but it's practical as well. So definitely the best car Mini has made to date. Practical, fast, good looking. There we go, that's the summary of the 2020 JCW Clubman. Anyway guys, I want to say a massive thank you to Chandlers Mini in Hailsham. This car is actually up for sale if you want to go down and test drive it. I think it's up for 29, just under £30,000, which I think is a good saving. I think they're like 35, 36 new. This has hardly done any mileage at all, so good compromise. Go down there and give it a test drive. You'll be very impressed with it. Anyway guys, I'm going to call this video to a close. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Comments are always welcome, and remember to click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.